It's Thursday, July 15th, and it's time for a Q&A. We've got some really good questions today. How exactly did I build a better booty? Follow up to some previous questions. Do I do any type of intermittent fasting or do I have 3 meals a day? And how did I end up doing with Maxim CoverGirl? We don't know yet, but I've already won. We're going to talk about that. Um, so let's dive right in. Let's start with the intermittent fasting question from Lisa. So, Lisa, I personally do not intermittent fast. I believe it can be helpful for some women, um, and harmful, honestly, harmful for others. That's how big of a spectrum this can be. There is no perfect way to eat. Even when I'm saying prioritize protein and produce, I am not specifying you need to do it exactly this way, but I am saying we're all going to be better off putting real food into our bodies than processed crap. And I'll I'll die on that hill. So as far as intermittent fasting, um, for me, and I would ask also, what if you're doing it, if you're consider doing it, what are your reasons for doing so? It's certainly not necessary for weight loss. I have seen it backfire for some women. And again, I've seen women that thrive on it, that feel that their mental clarity is better, their focus is better, they have better energy. And if that's you and it's working, keep on doing it. I always say if what you're doing is working and you feel amazing, keep doing it. But if not, let's make some tweaks. I'm always tweaking what I'm doing. Like, yes, I do the basics of my walking and my protein and all those things, but I'm always tweaking and playing and seeing how can we make this even better. So here's why I typically eat 3 meals a day. Um, okay, first, as a student of ancestral health, I should back up for a moment. I understand the benefits of fasting, the autophagy, which is our bodies actually getting rid of dead cells and things like that. So there are some real benefits to fasting. Um, I also know that as a postmenopausal woman, I need to get plenty of protein in order to maintain my lean body mass. I know that I get cranky when I fast, and some people say, well, work through it. Well, I'm not looking to lose weight, and I'm eating super clean, um, and I'm just choosing not to do it. So I know that it would be really hard for me to reach my protein goals if I were doing some type of a shortened eating window. I eat when I'm hungry, and again, sometimes it's socially like while I'm eating dinner at this time because I'm meeting somebody for dinner, but I eat when I'm hungry and I feel better, not on 5 or 10 little meals a day, like who has time for that? But it's typically 3 meals a day. So that way I'm able to get at least 30 grams of protein. I'm aiming for at least 30 grams of protein per meal. I typically go higher. And then that's really easy to get my my protein in for the day, which I'm always looking for at least like a little over 100 grams a day. And recommend just as a great starting point, I would urge you to set a protein goal from real food, not from all types of bars and things like that, of 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. It's a great starting point. I would just have a really hard time reaching that if I were in some type of shortened eating window. So I personally, and I don't like to eat one. Yes, I like to eat meals that are large enough that I am, when I say large enough, have enough nutrients in them. They don't need to be big, that I am satisfied. But for me to to get that protein, that's too much for me to consume in one sitting or two sittings. So the 1 meal a day thing, or even 2 meals a day for me, isn't my vibe. I feel great on 3 meals a day. And if I'm hungry, and I tend to get hungrier, I'm up really early in the morning. I don't eat typically for several hours. I do have my coffee, but then I'm just moving and grooving and doing my thing, and then I eat when I get hungry. Um, so as a result, but because I get up at like 4 a.m., I might be eating around 8 a.m. Um, but and things typically work out for me that I eat more, throughout, like my dinner is pretty early because I also go to bed pretty early. But as much as so many people say, oh, you got to cut stuff off a couple hours before bedtime, I don't always do that. If I'm hungry before bed, I will absolutely have something else to eat before bed. The other night, I had a can of sardines right before I went to bed because I knew that if I didn't get a little more food in my body, I was going to wake up hungry. Nobody wants that. That is no, I'm not available for that. So, like, I don't mean waking up in the morning hungry. I mean waking up in the night hungry. So I was legit hungry. I ate a can of sardines before bed, and I know that grosses some people out, but it's what I was fine with it. So I personally don't intermittent fast. Again, I'm not opposed to it, but it's just not for everybody. And here's what I've seen with, so there's actually, I can think of two clients right off the top of my head, um, that I've worked with that had done it and it was really backfiring. So Katie, this was years ago and she's so much fun. Um, I was asking her, what she's doing. She's like, "Oh, I'm doing it, I've been intermittent fasting." And I was like, "Well, how do you like it?" And she was like, I hate it. And I was like, "Okay, well, we're not doing anything you hate. Like, so let's start that right here." But what was happening was she was feeling so deprived and like she's being so good that she would end up actually overeating and wanting sweets after that, the meal that she was finally allowing herself to have. And another client, very similar situation. As soon as we got her, she eventually started, and I do believe this can be helpful. Um, I will sometimes, first of all, I would be more likely to fast. I'm more likely to just stop eating at some point in the day rather than not eat in the morning. So for me, that works a little bit, so if I'm just not feeling hungry, I don't need to eat. But so I did have another client that I worked with that um like ate when she was hungry on the days when it naturally happened that she fasted for a bit and maybe didn't eat until afternoon. She went with it, but when she felt real hunger, she ate. And doing it this way, and really, this was a woman who protein made such a difference for. Once she started getting the protein from real food, like burgers, and chicken and fish, and salmon, things like that, her desire to snack at night, those sugar cravings, they just stopped. They just stopped. And this was someone who's very educated about food, but still let those cravings would take over. Once her body got the protein she needed, they went away. And again, that's the protein leverage hypothesis, states that our bodies will continue seeking food until our protein needs are met. And I have seen that time and time again. So hope you found that helpful, Lisa. Um, okay, I don't remember who this was on Facebook, but basically wanted to know exactly how I build a better booty. So, and I'm going to give you everything I can in this video. Um, but so much of it has to do with the food, which my book can be super helpful. I should have pointed that out too. Let me grab my cookbook. Okay, I really need to start plugging this more because I give away so much information for free. And then people like this one on Facebook keep like going and going. And it's like, I'm already over delivering. It's all in here. So to learn more about figuring out your protein goals, figuring out your calorie goals, how to eat in a way that's going to help you lose weight and build muscle at the same time, it's all in here. Happier, healthier, and hotter, high protein, low calorie, bikini friendly recipes. This is so much more than a cookbook. It's where I share weight loss strategies that work. These are the same strategies that have helped my clients lose 10 to 35 pounds and keep it off, and that helped me. It shares the way I eat to stay lean and fit at almost 59, 5 years post menopause. This is the stuff that works, and it's all in here. So, um, so basically, I've had some people noticing that my booty's improving. So, I'm always talking about my abs and showing off my abs, but well, it's hard to see in these shorts, but I have absolutely built a better booty. And people are really seeing that in my dancing on in a bikini videos that I'm posting on Instagram and they go over to Facebook as well. So because I have received a bunch of questions in the last couple of weeks, I prepared a fun little reels, just shaking my booty, but said, here's how I build a better booty post-menopause. And in the caption, I shared what I'm going to, it was a very detailed caption. And it said, like, read the caption. So I got this question when that went out live on Facebook. Someone was like, well, how exactly did you do it? And I said, well, read the caption and then ask me any questions. She's like, I read the caption, but I want to know exactly what you did. I was like, I just shared exactly what I did. Like, how much more can I give you? But at the end, the first thing I'm going to tell anybody that wants to build a better booty, have visible abs, have toned arms, build those shoulders a little bit because this really makes your everything, it accentuates everything. And I don't mean you like clearly there's no bulk on me. You need to be giving your body the fuel, the proper fuel. You need to be prioritizing protein and produce, and that's all spelled out in my book. So exactly how I built this booty is I started walking more and hillier walks. I started building in hills into my walks every single day. So I walk 15,000 steps a day, hills every single day, not hills the whole time. I walk at least 15,000 steps a day. Um, and I added hills, which truly do build a better booty. Something magical that I did, well, not magical, but it feels like magic, is I've started wearing barefoot shoes for my morning walks. So, and there is something to this. When I first got these 2 years ago, I have several pairs. Um, I was like, I think these are giving me a better butt. And turns out I'm not wrong. So, and now that I've really stepped up the hills, boy, do I see a difference. So there is an actual connection between when you are able to engage your big toe while you're walking, which you do when you wear shoes like this, that helps to activate your glutes. So you're welcome. These shoes have indeed supported my better booty. I'm not saying it's necessary, but I am saying they have been helpful. I've been prioritizing the protein. And then very recently, I added kettlebell swings. That was about a month and a half ago. Do I think they're helping? Yes. But it's walking the hills. I don't go to a gym. I don't have some magical butt lifting workout that I'm doing. I'm walking a lot of hills. That's what's giving me a better booty. And along the way, I'm burning calories, I'm burning fat, I'm getting natural light in my eyes, getting sun on my skin, which I'm not afraid of, which is giving me the most bioavailable vitamin D. The light in my eyes is balancing my circadian rhythms, boosting my mood, my energy, all of the things, all from walking. Like, this is why I'm so passionate about walking. It is like there's endless variations to make it more challenging, less challenging. Like, it's so adaptable. And then the last question from David came through on Instagram this morning or yesterday. How did you end up doing with Maxim CoverGirl? So, well, we don't know the answer. Maxim has not announced the winner of the cover yet. But I won the day I entered. I won when I entered back in 2020. I won by taking a chance on myself. I won by pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I won when I started getting more creative with photo shoots. I won when I learned to execute like very quickly. I won when I started asking for things I wanted, like a Bentley photo shoot. Like, thank you, more please. I won when I started connecting with the most amazing women who were also in this competition. I won when I made new friends and new connections. I won when I got to, by sharing my story that it's time to tell a new story about aging. And I actually won an interview. So over 50,000 women entered this competition, and I got an interview for the cover. Thank you, more please. I can't wait for the announcement, but I have already won. And I want you to know that. I want you to know, not just David who asked this question, I want you watching this to know that when you go after something that you want, even if it seems a little crazy, when you show up for yourself, when you honor the commitments that you've made to yourself, you are winning. You are absolutely winning. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to drop a link to my cookbook in the caption. I'm also going to drop a link to these shoes. I do have a discount code HHH10. Um, I only talk about products if I love them and use them in real life. I've been wearing these shoes for like these barefoot shoes for 2 years. And the more I wear them, the more I like them. So thank you, more please. Life is so good. Thank you for being here. Have the most amazing day. Can you tell I'm passionate about what I do? Oh, and please, if you are benefiting in any way from these messages here on YouTube, I would be so honored if you'd actually hit the subscribe button. That way, well, we're all winning. Um, you'll be notified every time I post a video, and it's showing YouTube that this content is valuable. It's showing YouTube that people are enjoying this, that there are more and more people who want to tell a new story about aging, more and more people that want to live an amazing life, who want to just feel so good. So thank you, and share the videos, let your friends know. You know, I have a large audience on Facebook and Instagram. My audience here on YouTube is tiny, and I don't care. I'm going to show up for you guys. So thanks again.